following content is brought to you by Social Inform Media.
The story is brought to us from LGBTQNation.com. For some reason I have to say it slow. LGBTQNation.com. Now this one, I feel, based on some common sense, that this business is being targeted for. You're going to find out why I believe that. I want to ask you if you think that this is favoritism or discriminatory practice by local residents and the police. Because there's got to be more than one business in this town that has music and events and clapping, but for some reason the police are always called, or they say they're always called, to this business. Well, let's look at it. As summer winds down in the community of Rehoboth, Delaware, owners of a bar and a restaurant in the gay beach oasis are accusing police of harassment. Tony Sacco and Joe Maggio, co-owners of Port 251, told the Washington Blade that cops are showing up at the establishment's popular Friday and Sunday drag shows and stationing themselves outside of the venue. Cops are just stationed right there in the front. Now, Tony Sacco says, I'm not sure who were bothering at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. They weren't coming because of a call at that point. Maybe they were, I don't know. But at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, the cops show up and are like, you're too loud. Sacco said officers now regularly sit outside for the entire show, measuring the volume of performances. The restaurant has been fined repeatedly for violating Rehoboth's noise ordinance there in Delaware. How do you measure the volume of a performance? Like, what are the cops sitting there and going like this and going, too loud, bring it down, bring it down, bring it down, too loud, bring it down. I don't know, man. I don't know, but how do you measure? Maybe they sit far enough away, like, maybe the noise can't be over 100 feet or something like that. But Sacco says the officers do tell the owners that patrons are clapping too loudly. What, like, Huck, tone it down. Or that shows on the restaurant's patio are in violation of city noise ordinances. Now, Rehoboth Police Department Professional Standards Unit Commander Lieutenant Jamie Riddle said officers aren't placed outside of events unless there's a public safety concern, and asserted the police presence at Port 251 is the result of numerous complaints called in to the city's dispatch since June 19th, the beginning of summer, of course. What's the public safety concern with noise? Like, what, you're going to bust somebody's eardrums? I don't get it. But Jamie Riddle said no associated noise complaints have been called into dispatch while officers were on the scene. That's very interesting. When officers weren't present last Friday, a noise complaint was received. A noise complaint, singular. Proof, Jamie Riddle says, the effectiveness of the strategy of having cops there. Interesting how when they're there, they don't get any noise complaints. But when they're not there, hey, we got a call. We got a call that you guys are being too loud. That's very interesting to me. Sacco says the ongoing police presence is precisely the problem. It's not a solution. He says patrons feel uncomfortable. Some get up and leave. It's unfortunate because we're trying to make a living. But even more so, the drag queens are just trying to make a living and they're feeling targeted. And that's why I was saying a minute ago, maybe they are being targeted because there's got to be more than one business in this seaside oasis that has music and clapping and, people on loudspeaker and the stage, or is that the only place in town you can go to see a show? You see where I'm going with that? It's just weird. And I think it's because it's one of those, I don't know, anybody from around Rehoboth, Delaware that can tell me, are they liberal or conservative? Is it like a Bible Belt type of town? Because I'm thinking because it's a drag show with drag queens, they're like, oh, we're gonna run that business out of town. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not from Rehoboth. But Jamie Riddle says Rehoboth Police Department has begun to meet with the restaurant owners, and proactively investigate the noise associated with the Friday and Sunday performances. Sacco and Maggio claim they've been trying to comply with the noise rules, taking the music down a notch, and directly reaching out to the police chief and city commissioner. But he said in the meantime, cops are still hanging around. Kind of like what John Malkovich said in the movie Rounders. It got alligator blood. They're hanging around. But yeah, to me it sounds almost like, because if they're not complaining about other businesses having noise complaints, then either there's no other businesses that have venues in town, or they're showing favoritism. They're biased against drag shows. I don't know. Hopefully somebody from Delaware will see this and chime in and let us know what's going on down there in Rehoboth.